Good. Well, it was really good to connect with you 2 weeks ago on your podcast. I had a really good time, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to hop on mine.
Yeah, dude, I'm pumped to get on here and jam and hopefully add some value to your audience. I really enjoyed having you on mine as well. So I hope that there can be a mutual benefit there.
Absolutely. I was thinking this conversation could be a little more organic. You know, you and I have a lot in common for sure as far as our coaching practices go and obviously training for endurance sports and things like that. But I kind of want to take this conversation a little back to your days playing college football. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. So I grew up in Southlake, Texas, which is kind of a powerhouse Texas high school football city. Moved there when I was 10, and that was the first thing my family did was give me playing football. And so played football there. When it came time to figure out where I was going to go to school, I had scholarship offers from the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, and then I had a scholarship offer from Stephen F. Austin, which is a D1 AA school in Nacogdoches, Texas. But I really wanted to play what I considered big-time D1 football, and so I decided to walk on at SMU and bet on myself, which is kind of the foundation around my podcast, my business. Betting on yourself, taking risks, pursuing your dreams, and just believing that you can do it. And so walked on at SMU, ended up playing, I think 46 out of 48 games during my time there. Started a couple of years, got put on scholarship, became a captain. And I'm kind of speeding through, and obviously we can talk about the details of those specific things, but all that to say, had a really awesome experience playing football.
Amazing. So today you're a performance coach, and you help high-level athletes, high-income earners, high performers with their physical fitness, their health, etc.
Yeah, physical fitness, mental health, which is really mindset, and then career alignment are really the three focus areas, along with relationships, because I believe that if your mindset, your physical health, your career, and your relationships are aligned, well, then how could you not be happy and enjoying the life that you're living? And the reality is we have the opportunity and the ability to create the things that we want in all four of those categories. It's just a matter of doing it. And so I help people figure out exactly what they want and then help them go from where they're currently at to where they want to be.
How do you take people through the conversation of figuring out what they want? Because most people don't even know what they want, right? When I ask clients or potential clients that I'm on the phone with, what are your goals? They're very surface level. They're very vague. They're not quantifiable. So what's the process you typically take those people through to help them discover and gain clarity on what they want in life?
It's actually interesting you say that, because in my experience, a lot of times people actually do know what they want. And a lot of times they know probably what they need to do to get there or have an idea. But the problem is there's this roadblock, which is taking action and actually doing stuff to achieve their goals. And so my approach really is more so hey, let's talk about what you want. Maybe it's not super specific. Maybe we have to get a little more granular, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about a plan to do that. Let's talk about what you think is currently keeping you from doing that. Because a lot of times actually speaking about those things, putting them out to the universe allows you to see that the barrier that I thought existed really isn't as scary or isn't as much of a hindrance as I maybe thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, naming that then allows you to maybe put something into action to go around it or go through it or whatever the route is. But really it's about being intentional.
Yeah.
I'm curious from your perspective, so you mentioned that a lot of the people you talk to don't really have those goals. So what is your approach in those contexts?
I think everyone is different. Whenever I'm having a free call with someone, the first question is, tell me a little bit about yourself and what you want to talk about today. Mm-hmm. And usually the first thing that they talk about is the most important thing, right? So whether it's losing weight, whether it's waking up early, whether it's having better relationships. I recently started working with a client who really just wanted to help his phone addiction. And I never knew, well, not that I never knew, but I didn't realize how much value I can bring to a conversation and a client when it comes to social media and phone addiction. But
right.
Usually the conversation flows organically from there. But being specific with our goals is really important. I kind of want to do a small exercise with you if you're cool with it, because every 3 months or so, I kind of lose sight on what I want. And even though I do have clarity on what I envision my perfect life to look like. And that includes how much money I have in the bank, having zero debt, having a business that makes X amount of dollars and I'm working X amount of hours, running 2 Ironmans a year, waking up at 4:55 every day, swimming every day at 5:30 with my team and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to, and is it okay if we kind of, over the next 5 minutes, you kind of take me through that process on what you do for your clients to bring clarity to what they want?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of it being very specific to the individual, but typically I have a normal conversation. It's not like a sales pitch type thing or I'm trying to sell you something, because I think that people who look for coaches, like, they do it at the right time. They do it when they're ready. So I'm never trying to push anything on anybody. If I have a conversation with somebody and they think it's the right fit for them, then I send them an assessment. Then we evaluate those 4 categories that we talked about earlier. And then from there, that's when we can start to make a plan around what changes need to be made in their lives for them to create the life that they want. Not for me to tell them what they need to do, for me to tell them, hey, follow X, Y, Z step, and that's going to get you exactly what you need. But like, hey, what do you want? Okay, well, what do you think you need to do to make it happen? And then, hey, I'm here to support you as you make those changes in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it any business coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I think career alignment goes hand in hand with business. So, some people, it might be, hey, I want to get a promotion in my current job. Some people, it might be, I want to start my own business, but I'm scared or don't have the tools or knowledge or what have you to do so. And so professional alignment could be a job. It could be starting a business, kind of whatever the person needs.
Yeah. No, I like that. So let's shift gears back to this walk-on mentality. It's kind of like the underdog mentality, right? It's the we ain't got shit to lose mentality.
Yeah.
Right? Just play our ass off because we were barely on the team in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
We have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into the walk-on mentality. For me, the slogan, the description is the walk-on mentality is the mindset that there are no limits to what we can accomplish when we believe in ourselves and we're willing to do the work to achieve our goals. And so it's truly just this belief system that says that we're not limited in what we're capable of. It's the same mindset that you had when you signed up for your first Ironman. It's the same mindset you had when you decided, okay, I'm going to start a business. It's the same mindset you said when you jumped into your real estate career, like, I have no money. I have to go earn everything and create this opportunity for myself. Like, that is the walk-on mentality. That's why it made sense for you to come on to my show. And that's applicable across all areas of life, from fitness to professional to creating the kind of relationship you want. Like, it's across the board applicable. And so that's what the walk-on mentality is. And then, yeah, within that, there's like, first person there, last person to leave. I'm not entitled to anything. I'm going to be the hardest worker in the room. I'm going to study more film or, stay late at work, like whatever it is, insert doing extra work here. It's like doing everything that you can to set yourself up for the opportunity that you that you're going to earn through putting in the work.
So some would argue that working 80 hours a week and waking up at 4:30 in the morning and, being the first one there and the last one to leave is an unhealthy balance, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say you reach the team, you reach your goals in business. Is that walk-on mentality, is that sustainable long-term?
Yeah, I mean, I think the walk-on mentality doesn't mean that you should burn yourself out and like exhaust yourself beyond what is like healthy, but it's this, again, back to the initial point of like the mindset that I can do whatever I set my mind to. And I've certainly in my own life experienced like that burnout where it feels like kind of on a hamster wheel of like, no matter what I do, it's not enough. And like, that's incredibly unhealthy. So that's not what the walk-on mentality is. It's just a mindset that whatever you want to do, you can do. So yeah, I mean, like in terms of specifically like an 80-hour work week or getting up at 4 or whatever it is, like if that's what you need to do to achieve your goal, if that's what you need to do for a period of time, then like maybe you do it, but maybe that's not what is always required for you to be where you want to be. I think a lot of it is kind of about figuring out what it is that you need, what you want to achieve, and then again, like designing your life based on that.
Yeah. Dude, I think I need to wake up at 4 a.m. and do 80-hour weeks if I want to achieve what I want to achieve. What about you?
Honestly, like I get up at 5 and I train and I do what I need to do. I don't think I need to get up at 4 and work 80-hour weeks to achieve what I want to achieve. No.
How come?
Are there days that I do get up at 4? Sure. But that's not like for me personally, that's not an everyday necessity. No.
Yeah. Why is that?
Why is it that I don't think I need to get up at 4? Well, let me ask you this. Why do you think you need to get up at 4?
Well, if I want to train for 2.5, 3 hours a day, and that includes 20 minutes in the sauna and a 5-minute cold plunge, get home, eat a good breakfast, and be at my desk by 9 a.m., then I have to at least be training by 5:30. I mean, right now I start training at 5:30, and I'm barely at my desk at 9 a.m. Like today, I was eating my breakfast at 9:05, and I'm a little late. And yeah, being a little late is okay. 9:05, 9 o'clock, kind of the same thing. But we have high standards, and we want to achieve greatness, right? I don't think Kobe was 5 minutes late to practice,
right?
And I don't think Bezos and Musk are showing up late to their meetings, right? So I feel like if I want to get my training in before 9 a.m., I got to be up at 5 or a little earlier. And then if I want to reach out to more people and I want to have more conversations about life coaching and personal growth, self-development, things like that, I think that I need to spend more time sending messages, sending emails, making phone calls. The more people I talk to, the more opportunities I get to build my business, having conversations like this, because there are things that you and I do that don't necessarily make money, whether it's, spending 2 hours a day making Instagram reels or, making the podcast, like having conversations with people that don't end up becoming clients. And look, we are well aware that we have to do these things if we want to be successful, but there are sacrifices that need to be made, and there are things that we do that don't necessarily make money for us right now. And I don't know, I don't know, man. What's your feedback on that?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, so you giving that context makes more sense to me. So like, you're training for an Ironman, right? So that training for an Ironman requires 3 disciplines: run, bike, swim. It requires you to do probably multiple of those disciplines multiple days out of the week. So not every day is going to be one workout. And then on top of that, you have recovery protocols that you want to do, such as sauna, ice bath, whatever, right? So for you, if getting up at 4 is necessary for you to be able to get all your training in for the morning and then not have to train again in the evening, or maybe you do have to train again in the evening, but you're fitting everything that you need to get done into your schedule, then that might make sense for you. For me, I'm training for a marathon right now, and a marathon is running. So I know I need to run 6 days a week, and I want to lift 3 to 4 days a week. So that means 3 to 4 days out of the week, I'm going to have 2 workouts. But what I know is for sure is that I'm going to run 6 days a week. So in order for me to complete the runs that I need to complete, I get up at 5. I get in my journal, I time block my day, I write down the 3 most important things that need to be done. I do my daily wins, affirmations, and thank you practice. I meditate for 5 minutes. I get to my training session, I start by 6. Most of the time, my run is not going to take me more than 90 minutes right now. I'm early in the block, maybe later in the block when I'm doing a 20-mile run or what have you, like that'll take longer time, but that's also typically on a weekend, so I can plan accordingly. But again, training for a marathon right now, being intentional with my time, like I can complete all of that, everything that I need to get done from the fitness perspective by 8 easily. And so like I'm able to fit in what I need to fit in between the hours of 5 and 8 with no issue. And then that allows me to get into my work day, doing outreach, doing podcasts, whatever it is, right? But again, it comes back to like, what's your goal? And then you've created a schedule that makes sense for you to be able to achieve everything that you need to achieve in a given day. So for me, getting up at 4 a.m., like I don't need to do that right now. I can spend that extra hour sleeping, which allows me to bring more into my day.
Facts. When's your marathon?
January 14th.
Okay. Do you have a time goal for your marathon?
Yeah, man, I'm going for a sub 3.
Sub 3. That's the number everyone's trying to hit.
Yep. Yeah. I ran, my first marathon was in December of last year. I ran Dallas. Goal was sub 3. learned a ton in the process. Ended up running at 325. Definitely like learned a lot primarily on the nutrition side. My stomach was absolutely wrecked. And so now I know like it's important to be consistent, just like in anything else, but really consistent with actually what I'm eating the nights before my long run, as opposed to just like carb loading with random stuff. But it was a phenomenal experience. And I think just like anything else in life, you learn from what you do, and that helps you, moving forward.
Why do you feel called to run marathons and hit sub 3 hour? Why is that important to you?
Honestly, man, I just love pushing my limits and love challenging myself in really any arena. I played college football, and the way that we trained for college football was a lot of heavy lifting, Olympic lifting and things of that nature. I was also 240 pounds. And honestly, when I got done playing, I thought I would never run more than like 2 miles. But when COVID hit, I was like, I need to find a way to continue to really challenge myself. And for the first few years out of college, I was doing CrossFit a lot. But again, with COVID, like gyms were shut down. So running was a new way for me to exercise and move my body. And it was also kind of uncharted territory. I mean, the most I had ever really run prior to COVID was maybe like 6 miles. And I also didn't know anything about heart rate training. Like I knew nothing about the actual, like how to actually run efficiently and do it the right way. And so when COVID hit, I remember every Friday I would just run like a couple more miles than the previous Friday. And I remember getting up to like 16 miles and being like, oh, okay, like this is cool. This is different. I never thought I'd do this. And then a random Saturday came around and I ended up running 20 miles on just like a Nutrigain bar. And I was like, okay, if I can run 20 miles with zero like nutrition strategy, no fuel, like surely I could run a marathon. And my approach to really anything in life is like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all in and do it to the best of my ability. And so that's why my first marathon out of the gate, I was like, I'm going to try to run a sub 3. That's why my first 70.3, my goal was to go like sub 530. It's like, you don't always get your goal on the first go around, but you see what you're capable of and you learn, and then you can apply it to the next go around. So it's really, running for me is, it's peaceful and therapeutic, because you get to just kind of disconnect and be exactly where your feet are, think about one foot in front of the other. But it's also a cool opportunity to really push yourself and see just what you're capable of.
Why didn't you hit your sub 3 hour goal last time around?
Because I stopped in the porta potty 3 times.
What? Right, your stomach was fucked.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, was that just too many gels? You ran with different nutrition than you trained with?
Yeah, so again, like you learn through the process, right? So my training block for Dallas Marathon, I had, several weddings, several bachelor parties. And so I always got my workouts done, but I had to move them around a lot. And I think the body craves consistency to a certain level. And so, doing my long runs on a Thursday and a Saturday, and then eventually on a Sunday, like I think my body was probably a little off kilter because of that. And just want to caveat this, like none of this is making an excuse. This is just like lessons learned. But I really think the primary thing that kept me from a sub 3 was the days leading up to the race. So I think Wednesday night leading up to the race was in the ER till like 3 a.m. And then going into the actual race weekend, I had, the task to like carb load and sodium load. I had never done that before. I had no coach, had no clue what I was doing. So really I was just ripping like electrolytes, ripping like BPN G1M Sport, like just drinking it like it was water. And I think that you need that stuff obviously for a race, but it's also important to actually understand the quantities that you're putting in your body and, how much you need per body weight, etc. And so I think I just like poorly carb loaded, poorly sodium loaded. And then, whatever I ate the night before, I think just like had a bad effect on my stomach, because my dad actually had stomach issues as well on race day. And so
something was going on.
Something
was going on.
Yeah. So all that to say, like this time around, I'm going to be eating the same meal before every long run.
Yeah.
I'm going to, try my strategy actually before race weekend and like see what my body likes and doesn't like. That way I don't run into like nutritional issues, because there's so many factors that you just can't control, like weather and things like that. But it's all about controlling the controllables.
That's it. if you didn't stop in the porta potty 3 times, you think you would have hit sub 3?
I think I probably would have been like sub 310, because I think, so I ran a 325. Let's just say that each porta potty stop was roughly 5 minutes. The first one was definitely longer than 5 minutes, but like, let's just say they were all 5 minutes. That puts me at a 310.
Right.
So I don't think I would have hit sub 3, but I definitely would have been close.
So your marathon's January, so we got 2.5 months, give or take. Is this the strongest you've ever been? And when I say strongest, I mean endurance-wise for the marathon. Is this the strongest you've ever been?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for the first time in my life, I'm like running 50 miles a week consistently and feel good. I'm 200 pounds, so that's definitely, my joints feel it a little bit, but I also think that that's my body just acclimating to the stress. But I would say for sure, I mean, strongest running wise I've ever been. At the same time, like I was working out with a buddy this morning who he's running the New York Marathon next month. Both of us are former college football players. He played running back, I played linebacker. And we were laughing at ourselves because it's like we feel so much weaker from just like a muscle, like lifting weights perspective. But yeah, the cardiovascular fitness is certainly there.
Yeah.
What about you, dude? Like, I mean, how do you feel? What are you training for right now?
Bro, I'm 39 days out from Ironman Cozumel.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's fucking go. So, not to go too deep into it, but this is by far the strongest I've ever been. Like, by far.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, strongest I've ever been. I'm on a swim team now. We swim every single day at 5:30 in the morning. And the people I'm swimming with are fucking fish, bro. They're animals, right? So like, bro, we have a coach, and the coach is on deck, making us tread water with just our legs for like 15 minutes straight, like straight up, like just treading water like this. So, my legs are sore after swim practice. So swimming wise, by far the strongest I've ever been. I'm swimming about 12 to 14,000 yards a week right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I do at least like minimum 2,000 yards minimum every single day, except on Sundays are the only days we don't have practice. And then bike wise, I haven't done too many long rides. Last weekend I did a 4-hour. This weekend I'm doing a 5-hour. Next weekend I got a century ride. So we'll see how those go. But running wise, bro, like I'm crushing it, dude. I'm
dialed.
I'm dialed in. Now I'm not fast, but I can run 10 mile 9:30 pace and not be out of breath, and I can finish, and I'm good all day. I could probably run all day at like that 10-minute pace, but I think the most important thing for me, at least when it comes to goals, I'm not trying to go sub 12. I would like to go sub 14, but the most important thing for me goals wise is getting to the starting line healthy. Because I've overtrained in the past, and I know what it's like to be overtrained, and I know what it's like to go into a full Ironman without fresh legs. And that is so detrimental to your mindset and your confidence, because when you get into the water, and this, when you get into the water in the ocean on an Ironman, and there's 2,500 athletes behind you swimming fast as hell, like, you have to stay composed. You have to remind yourself to breathe, but also you got to be like strong as fuck in the water. Like you cannot play. You cannot go into the Ironman swimming 1,000 yards a day. Like, so recently, actually in August, in the Ireland full marathon, 2 people died.
Really?
Yeah, 2 people died in Corkland, Ireland. In August.
Wow.
In the swim. It's not the first time people have died in an Ironman, but it's just, you get kicked in the face. Like, what it is, it's a heel to the top of the chin, or to the bottom of the chin. It's a this teeth click, you black out for a second, and then someone swims over you, and someone swims over you, and then it's just, and you're just stuck.
Right.
There's 2,000 athletes above you. You're just fucking stuck. So when I heard that, I started taking the swim a lot more seriously. But back to the point of goals and where I'm at, 39 days out. I got basically only 3.5 more weeks of training. Like, it's like, I'm going to start the taper like November 8th-ish. So I really got only 2.5, 3 weeks left. But I wanted to ask you this question about having this be sustainable long-term. For me, Ironman is something that I do see sustainable long term for a few reasons. Number one, swimming, very low impact. Biking, very low impact. Because I'm not trying to qualify for Kona, because I don't have a time, the run is really just grit. Like, I don't need to be doing interval workouts for an hour. I don't need to be running 20 miles every other weekend.
Right.
But marathon training, sub 3 hour, you're running 50 miles a week. That's a lot of stress. It's a lot of impact, right? So, like, do you think that you want to, and even putting the impact and that injury prevention, all that stuff aside, like, is running marathons something that you see yourself doing for the next 70 years?
I don't know, dude. I think I will run for a long time, like, just because I enjoy that form of movement and exercise. But kind of to your point, like, it is a beating. I mean, literally, like, an absolute beating. The speed workouts, like, I think I had like an 11-mile speed workout last week, which, like, it's all relative, right? Like, 11 might not be a lot for some people. It might be a lot for others. Like, an 11-mile speed workout is no joke. Like, by the end of it, my core was tight, and I was like, I needed food immediately. And I certainly don't think that it's good to constantly put your body under stress. I think you need moments to, like, not be training that hard. Like, after I finished the Dallas Marathon, actually, I wasn't training for anything for a while. And when people would ask, oh, what are you training for now? And I would say, I'm actually not training for anything. It was like, oh, like, that's weird. But it's like, no, dude, you gotta recover. So back to your original question, do I think it's something I'll do forever? I don't really know. I mean, I definitely want to run a sub 3. I want to qualify for Boston.
Yes.
Obviously, you probably know that this past year, like, I think the cutoff time is like 5 minutes faster. So really that means I would need to run like a 2:54 to actually get into the race. So, like, I'm training to run a 2:54, and, like, we'll see what happens. But the thing about me is, like, when it comes to the pursuit of these goals, like, I really enjoy the race. I want to get the goal, but I so love the process. Like, I love having a training plan that I'm following. I love the daily discipline that's required to get up at 5 and execute on these things, even on the days we don't feel like it. Like, I love that aspect of it. That was the same thing I loved when I was playing football. It was like, we kind of sucked at SMU, but I loved the grind of summer workouts, being with my teammate, like, building that callus. And so, I think I will always have something in my life like this where I'm, like, pushing myself, but I don't know if it'll always be marathons. Like, I don't know if you've done High Rocks, but High Rocks is something that I really enjoyed because it's a good blend of cardiovascular fitness, but also requires some strength. Have you heard of it?
High Rocks, no, I'm going to Google it right now. What is that?
Yeah, dude. So basically it's 8 stations, and each station you have 1,000-meter run in between. So it comes out to roughly like a little over 5 miles of running in the event, I believe. And then you've got like rowing, ski erg, sled push, sled pull, wall balls, burpees, farmers carries, and like lunges, like weighted walking lunges.
Okay.
And that event is super, super fun. You see it?
High Rocks Race, is that what it's called?
Yeah, HYROX.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that looks cool.
Yes. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that, and that's a nice blend because it's like it's a little bit less just joint punishment from running, but you still got to be cardiovascularly fit. You still got to be able to run, but you also have to be strong. And so I think that's probably more so my like wheelhouse, just in terms of like body type and what I'm maybe naturally gifted at pursuing. But again, like, I really like the challenge of doing something that I'm maybe not like I'm not the prototypical runner, right? Like,
you are not, bro.
Nobody would look at me and think like, oh, he's a runner.
You are not the prototypical runner, dude. You're a beast. You're a man amongst children, bro.
You too, bro.
I appreciate that. But you for real, bro. What are you? You're like 6'3", 2 something?
I'm like 6'1", 200 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still, though, you are a beast, bro. Yo, but you know what, though? It's like, and I don't know if this is unhealthy or not. I kind of want your feedback on this. Like, Iron Man to me, and this is my mentality, these are not facts, and people are going to disagree. There are going to be a lot of people disagree with a lot of shit I say. That's completely fine.
Of course.
We're going to have conversations. But my mentality is Iron Man is for pussies. And, this race is for fucking pussies. And that's my mentality. And finishing an Iron Man is the bare fucking minimum for me. Like, I need to be able to run a sub 4-hour marathon at the snap of my fingers. I need to be able to do 100 push-ups in one set, the snap of my fingers. I need to be able to do an Ironman at the snap of my fingers every single day for the rest of my life. What are your thoughts on that?
So it's funny, when you initially said it, I was like, that is aggressive. However, as you continued talking, what I heard is like, that's your mindset around it. And that is motivation for you to make sure that you're able to do it. And like, that's motivation for you to never quit at it. And that's motivation for you to train hard, because in your mind, it's like, there's no excuse for me not to be able to do this. Like, for most people, and even for myself, like, I look at an Ironman training block and I know what that takes, right? Like, it takes 17 plus hours of training a week. You're talking about swimming 14,000 yards or 14,000 meters on a weekly basis. Like, people who don't really know the sport, like, don't know what that means. But like, a century ride on a bike is 6 hours on the bike, like, 5, 6, 7 hours on the bike, depending who you are. A marathon is 4 hours of running, depending on who you are, right? So, my perspective on Ironman is it's incredible, especially the people, no matter what time you finish. If you finish an Ironman, if you're 16 hours and 59 minutes in and you cross that finish line, that's incredible. And then I look at the pros who do it in 8 hours and I'm like, that's insane. I love Lionel Sanders because his whole thing is like, no limits. He's like, I want to push this limit, and I don't know who defined this limit, but my goal is to break the limit. Like, I love his approach. And so, like, back to your original question around what do I think about your specific mindset? Like, if that's the mindset that helps you train and stay committed and accomplish and cross those finish lines, all the finish lines you have crossed, then like, I love it.
I
absolutely love it.
No, you're absolutely right. I like how you picked that apart a little bit. And to kind of piggyback off of what you said, it's also about just the standard I set for myself. Like, this is the standard I set for myself. You're not trying to be average. I'm not trying to be average. We're trying to strive for greatness, right? Like, so this is the standard. This is the fucking standard, and that's the standard I'm going to hold myself to.
Yeah, I love it. I'd be curious, what have people said in the past when you tell them that?
Yeah, I'll be honest, dude. This is not something I say publicly often. It's not that I'm afraid to say it. It's just, it doesn't come up often. And not a lot of the conversations I have on podcasts and on social are specifically about my mindset on Ironman or things like that. But this was a good opportunity for me to like say that out loud, and it felt good. But you tell people, for example, dude, a lot of my buddies, they don't train for Ironmans, dude. A lot of my buddies, bro, they've never ran over 4 miles in their entire life, probably even less, right? So like, this isn't something that I'm able to share with them. This isn't something that I could say, hey, or they would say, oh, dude, Ironman, that's impressive. Like, respect. Like, I'm like, yeah, respect, but like, Ironman's for pussy, right? Like, I don't say that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say that to a friend who's giving me props for, crossing a finish line on an Ironman. It's thank you. I appreciate that. I put in a lot of work. But no, It's like, it's shit for pussies. And that's why the community, and that's why connecting with people like you and connecting with other people on social and connecting with other people in my triathlon groups and on my swim team and on, my Saturday morning runs. I'm part of a group now every Saturday at 6 a.m. We leave from Dunkin' Donuts and we all leave at one time. There's people running 7-minute miles. There's people running 7:30s, 8s. And, I'm just trying to keep up, and I just keep falling back. But I got my 12 miles in, you know what I mean? Like, being a part of that community and opening up relationships and being able to network with other people that are part of this community is like really what brought me to doubling down on Ironman. It's just, obviously these sports are expensive, signing up for races and traveling to races, and, bikes are expensive, and, training plans are expensive. And I'm sure you're part of like gyms and stuff that have a bunch of recovery tools that are hundreds of dollars a month and things like that. And, at the end of the day, it's all worth it when you cross that finish line, and there's so much value to be gained just from training for this shit.
Right. No, and I think a few things came to mind. You said that first and foremost, for anyone who's listening who maybe is thinking about starting a fitness journey and is hesitant for whatever reason, something that Zach just said that I think is really important is that like this running group he goes to on Saturdays, there's people running 7-minute miles, 8-minute miles, 9-minute miles, 10-minute miles. Like, it doesn't matter what pace you're running. Like, all that matters is that you're out there and you're trying to improve and push yourself and do something challenging. So like, don't let a feeling of, oh, I'm too slow or fat or whatever, like, don't let that stop you from taking that first step, because it's the start that stops most people. Now, the other thing that you mentioned that I think is important is like, yeah, these hobbies are expensive, but it's like, you look at it like an investment. And it's like, it's the same thing with hiring a coach for anything, whether it's lifestyle, habit, training. Like when you pay a premium and invest into something, there's all the more incentive to take it seriously and actually use it. So like, yeah, if you want to sign up for a race, like pay the entry fee, but also pay to take care of yourself, pay to eat the right food, because that's going to make the entire experience better. And also you're just going to feel better as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the two things that popped into my mind.
Yo, so as we close out this year, we got the rest of October, November, December. Obviously, training is important for you. What are some of your other goals that you're sprinting towards, or maybe some goals that, you know, are like 6 to 9 months away that you're focusing on outside of physical fitness?
Yeah, man. I mean, my mission is to positively impact, inspire, and empower as many people as I can to maximize their full potential in every category of their life. Part of the way I do that is through my podcast. Part of the way I do that is through one-to-one coaching. So obviously, like from a business standpoint, it's continue to consistently post podcasts, continue to consistently post my weekly newsletter, continue to find clients that are looking to make change in their lives. Like those are the business goals. And then in terms of just like personal development, like I set a goal to read every single day of the year, like whether it be 1 page or 10 pages. Like I wanted to read more books because honestly, for the last probably 5 years, the number of books I've read is just like pathetic. And so I haven't read every single day this year. I'll admit that, but I've read more this year probably than I've read in the last 5 years combined. And so want to continue to read. What else? Obviously, like you said, my training goal, continue to be the best boyfriend that I can possibly be the best son, brother, friend that I can possibly be, really just continue to be on my own journey to being the best version of myself possible. And again, that requires, commitment from the mindset perspective, physical, career, etc.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
What's something that could hold you back from accomplishing those things that's in your control? So I can reframe it this way as well. What's one thing that you know you need to do that you're not necessarily staying loyal to? A weakness of yours, maybe.
Yeah. I think, whoa, that's a tough question, dude. Because I feel like I've been fairly dialed lately. But I do also believe that there's always room for more growth, more improvement. So what is one thing that I need to do that I'm maybe not being as good about that is going to prevent me from any of my goals? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Honestly, dude, the very first thing that came to mind was being more consistent with some of my eating habits. And what that means for me is is actually just eating enough food based on the amount of training that I do, because I just spoke to the importance of recovery and the investment that you put in these races and training and whatnot. And I think, we talked about at the beginning, one of the most important things, not only for, athletic performance, but just like clarity of mind, is eating enough food and eating the right foods. I would say my approach to food consumption is I try to be as balanced as possible. Like, I'm not going to lie, I love pizza, I love sweets. Like, I'm not going to cut those out of my life. But what I need to be more consistent about doing is like eating right after a training session, or like if I know I have a 20-mile run, like eating enough food the day before or the morning of, actually fueling for that run and not just going out there and knowing that like, yeah, I could finish this run without eating anything, but it's not going to be as solid of a training session as it would have been had I fueled appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
So that specifically will help or hurt me when it comes to my marathon goal. You've actually got me thinking now. I think that's something worth taking a lot of time, or taking some time to think about, dude, is like taking inventory on like a well, better, how analysis of like, what am I doing well? What could I do better? And then how am I going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's one that comes to mind just from a training standpoint.
Okay. I'm going to share one with you. So just like you, I time block my day. And sometimes I don't stay loyal to that. And I'm just like, just another 15 minutes of, watching this or doing this. So I need to be a little more committed to my time blocking.
How do you manage time blocking when life inevitably throws something at you?
Well, I keep it very simple. It's from 5 a.m. till 9 a.m. I'm training, recovering, and meditating. So it's like up every day at 4:55, at swim practice by 5:30, swim for an hour, immediately into my run at 6:40, run for an hour. It's 8 a.m. Go to the gym, 20 minutes in the sauna, 5 minutes in the cold plunge, get out of the gym by 8:30. I'm home by 8:35, meditate for 10 minutes, and then try to squeeze in breakfast and be at my desk at 9. And then from 9 to 12, 3 hours of focus work. And there's, certain tasks I do every single day for those 3 hours, whether it's send 100 emails or send 50 DMs or make 10 calls, right? Talk to people, try to help, give. And then from 12 to 1 is a lunch break. I don't usually eat on my lunch break, but that's the 1 hour I give myself to either check Instagram or, just sit on the couch and, see what's on the news maybe for 15 minutes or so. And then from 1 to 4 is when I'm working in my business. So, there's working on your business, working in your business. So from 1 to 4, working in my business. So those are when I have my coaching calls. So every day I have at least one client I talk to, at least. Some days I have 2 clients I talk to. And then obviously there's clients who are reaching out for free calls. So from 1 to 4, I'm doing a couple free calls. And then from 4 to 5:30 is kind of free time in a way. After this podcast, it's 4 o'clock. I'm going to jump on the bike for an hour and a half before dinner. And then after dinner, it's go for a walk with my fiance around downtown and people watch for a little bit, eat dinner, do all those things and just kind of relax, maybe circle up around and close some loops around work and things like that. So that's how I time block my day. And I don't stay fully committed to that, but it happens, man. And you know what? As long as we're aware of when we're getting distracted and things like that, I think that's all that matters, because it comes down to, exercising our free will. If I know I should be doing this, but I'm doing that, I'm not exercising my free will. And if I'm aware of that, that's okay. So that's kind of how I plan my day. This is the last question I got for you, though.
All right.
The last question I got for you, what's something right now that you're really trying to learn about? Psychology, sales, minimalism, essentialism, distraction, addiction? What's one thing you're really trying to learn about right now?
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you mentioned what you just did about time blocking, because last night I was trying to figure out why it is that people and we do the things that why we don't do things we know we should do. If you want to lose weight and you know that in order to lose weight, you need to probably be in the gym 3 days a week, and you need to get 10,000 steps, and you need to eat a little bit cleaner. If you know that that's what it takes to do that, then why don't you just do it? And obviously there's there's sometimes circumstances in life that make doing certain things very difficult, whether it's financial or what have you. But, it's so many of us know exactly what it is that we want, like I said in the beginning, but yet for some reason we don't do the things that we know are necessary to make that happen. And what I think it comes down to is a couple different things. I think it's a lot of us want to stay comfortable. And for example, just to touch back on the example I gave around going to the gym and losing weight, it's so much more comfortable to just keep sitting on the couch watching TV and not put yourself in a vulnerable position where somebody could potentially judge you for not knowing what you're doing in the gym, or for you to not feel pain on a walk or what have you, right? It's a lot more comfortable to just stay where you're at. The other thing though that I thought about is there's not an immediate gratification a lot of times with making meaningful change in your life, pursuing bigger and better things. So if you know you want to lose weight and you know what it takes to lose weight is exercise and a little bit cleaner eating habits, you also know that it's not going to happen, in the blink of an eye or snap of a finger overnight. And a lot of us lack patience and just want that immediate gratification. So I was trying to figure out if there was a real scientific breakdown of how the brain functions and why, people don't do that. And I didn't find them last night, but I did recently read something about how like the brain's number one function is just to keep us safe. And so if getting out of your comfort zone feels unsafe, then you just won't do it unless you force yourself to do it. Right. So yeah. What about you?
Right now, I'm just learning a lot about minimalism, detoxing from social media, not being attached to my phone, really just trying to simplify my life.
You going to sell everything?
I honestly, dude, I did sell a lot of things over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
When I first started dating my now fiance, my girlfriend, we'd been dating for about 3 years. She's like, "This is all the clothes you have?" I was like, "Yeah, this is," and I'm trying to get rid of more. So I'm trying to just own 2-3 pairs of shoes, 10 pairs of underwear, 10 shirts, 10 pairs of shorts, etc. Now, obviously, I have a lot of technology. You can't see, but I'm looking at like 4 screens right here and like 2 keyboards and things like that. So, but I'm trying to really just simplify and undigitize and create space between myself and not only how people can reach out to me, but also my relationship with not only devices, but materialistic things.
Right, just distractions.
Yeah. And I've been reading a lot of good books about it, but
I love it. There's a documentary on Netflix about that. I've been wanting to sell a lot of my stuff too. My girlfriend's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like,
funny.
But I love it.
Good, man. Well, listen, to all those people out there that are still listening, we really appreciate your time, energy, and attention. This was Jackson Mitchell. You can also listen to his podcast, The Walk On Mentality. I'm going to drop the link to his podcast in the show notes. I'm going to drop the link to his website and his socials in the show notes. Reach out to him, shoot him a DM on Instagram, let him know that you listened to this podcast. Jackson, it was a pleasure having you on the show today. This was a really fun conversation.
It was a pleasure coming on, Zach. I appreciate you having me, brother.